Hi everyone. Today's Thursday, February 15th, Thursday after Ash Wednesday, and I want to do a reading and a reflection. I want to do one every day through Lent, so this one is for the Thursday after Ash Wednesday. Main focus is on suffering, which is one of my favorite topics because it's difficult to understand why we have to suffer and why suffering is a part of life. So I find it very interesting and a very worthwhile reflection. The two scripture readings, one from the Old Testament, one from the New Testament, that are related to this reflection are Deuteronomy chapter 30 verses 15 to 20 and Luke chapter 9 verses 22 to 25. So the quote, this first quotation is taken from Luke. "Whoever wishes to be my follower must deny his very self, take up his cross each day, and follow in my steps." Luke 9:23. The sign of the cross. Like pebbles on a beach, suffering is a part of the human landscape. And like pebbles, suffering comes in different shapes and sizes. There is physical suffering, not only the aches and pains of daily life, but also the serious illnesses that can come up on us in the blinking of an eye. There is emotional suffering, such as the loneliness, depression, or fear that bedevil so many lives. There is spiritual suffering, the desire to overcome temptation, the intention to grow in holiness, and the failure to do so. Each of us could easily pinpoint the suffering that most severely touches our lives. With a little reflection, we could also name the chief suffering of our family members, our relatives, and our friends. From experience, we know that everybody suffers in one way or another. Suffering plays no favorites. The religious person suffers, and so does the atheist. The key question that confronts us then is not whether we will suffer, but how we will suffer. How are we to deal with suffering? Throughout history, people have sought a solution to suffering. There are many philosophies and many schools of thought. The Stoics, for example, insisted on an attitude of endurance in the face of pain, a refusal to acknowledge suffering or give in to complaint. The Buddhists, on the other hand, said that the best approach was to suppress all desire, experience nirvana or oblivion. If you desire nothing, you cannot be hurt or disappointed. The Christian view, in most simple terms, is acceptance of suffering in union with Christ. The sufferings of Christ were redemptive because they were enriched with love. Quote, "In thinking of the passion of Jesus," writes St. Alphonsus, "we should consider not so much the sorrows Jesus suffered as the love with which he bore them." End of quote. A disciple of Jesus must have the same attitude towards suffering that Jesus had. Quote, "Whoever wishes to be my follower must deny himself, take up his cross each day, and follow in my steps." End quote. If our sufferings are united with the sufferings of Christ, if they are motivated by love, then they too can be redemptive. Suffering can be wasted. It can lead to bitterness. But suffering can also lead to a higher level of unselfish love. When I was a boy, it was said, half-jokingly, that there was no use telling your troubles to a priest or a nun because they would tell you only one thing: offer it up. While this advice may have been overused at times and used to oversimplify, it is still good advice. To offer up our sufferings in union with Christ is the basic message of the gospel. In our sufferings, we join with Jesus in the ongoing work of redemption. Instead of letting our sufferings make us bitter or hard-hearted, we offer them with compassion and love in union with him. There are plenty of opportunities in daily life to offer up our sufferings in union with Christ. During Lent especially, we might take another look at the cross that casts its shadow over our lives. The nagging headache, the chronic illness, the stifling boredom, the vague discouragement, the moody loneliness, the spiritual emptiness. Let us take that cross and unite it with the cross of Christ, and let us do so not grudgingly, but lovingly. And so we end the meditation and the reflection with a prayer. And this is a quote. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. And this is from the Good Friday liturgy. So to put it into practice, we say, today I will unite this particular cross of mine, and you can name exactly what it is. Today I unite this particular cross of mine with the sufferings of Jesus. So there you have it. That's our daily meditation for today, the Thursday after Ash Wednesday. I want you to reflect on that and look at suffering in a different way, as difficult as that may be. It's easy to say, but difficult to do. But truly, this is how we can unite ourselves with Christ. And by doing that, we sanctify ourselves, and we can also help to sanctify the world. Okay, so that's it for tonight. Have a good evening, and God bless. We'll see you tomorrow.